Hi, I'm a discussioner here. I know I've been around a long time. Some of you probably don't even know who I am. You may have subbed to me when you subbed to someone else. Um, but regularly scheduled YouTube programming will commence as soon as all my classes are over, and you'll be getting a lot better videos than this such person has been suspended. Uh, there's been a lot of that lately. But anyway, I want to respond to a friend of mine, Born Without Religion. We hang out in Stickham on occasion. She's really fun to talk to. And she pointed out that a lot of people in religion don't understand their religion. A contention I'd have to agree with. Now, I already answered her questions on her video. I wanted to instead point out something. I wanted to talk about my Catholic experience. I was in a Catholic graduate school learning education. Didn't finish, long story, but the last class that I had, and the last project for that class, was to create a panel. And me and the three other group members created a panel on sex education. Surprisingly, our stance, everyone wanted to basically say that comprehensive sex education was a good thing, which is, abstinence is preferred, but if you're not going to do that, here's how to use a condom. Now, the facts spoke for themselves, thankfully. Now, we got on the topic of masturbation and how one of my group members pointed out that in the Bible it does say that you're not supposed to spill your seed, and that's why that's the biblical reason for not masturbating or thinking that that's wrong. And I sort of had to point out that that's really not the correct interpretation of that. If you look at the verse reference, and I'll put a link to the verse in the sidebar or bottom bar or wherever YouTube decides to put it. If you look at it, it's actually talking about a story of a man who dies and leaves behind his wife. And as was the law back then, the biblical law, the brother of the deceased man had to take his wife and impregnate her, basically, and procreate. And when they consummated the marriage, or when they were doing it, he pulled out, and God immediately struck him down because he broke the law. He had to, as his duty, procreate with her. Now, I showed her the verses, and I had her read that, and she just stared at it, dumbfounded or awestruck by what she was reading. It's times like these, this wasn't the only thing that I could point to, that made it very clear to me that a lot of religious people don't understand the Bible. What probably happened is that someone told her this, showed her the one verse where it says, you should not spill your seed, and without any of the context in there, and she just went around believing that. I think in general, a lot of people are not directly, but indirectly discouraged from reading their Bibles. Instead, you should go to your pastor or priest, and they'll tell you what the Bible says, and there's no need for you to read it. A lot of this, I think, is because, well, if you read it, you'll get your own interpretation, which probably might not match what the church thinks, and that's going to cause some problems. But if you look towards throughout history, this was pretty much a common practice. In the Middle Ages, no one read their Bible. The priest told them what it meant. As far as they were concerned, he could have just said something that was completely not even in it, and they would not be the wiser, the main congregation, that is. And I think the reason this is allowed to exist is because religion is mainly, for the lay people, about faith. You don't need a reason to believe. In fact, if you're looking for reasons, you're already going about it all wrong. You need to believe without seeing, as my grandmother and brother are very fond of pointing out. Now, I think that is basically the reason why this is happening, and why Catholics in particular seem to be very comfortable with not necessarily teaching what the Bible itself says, but more so what the priest says. Again, I don't want to broad brush this, but I do feel that is how things are. So that was my story. That was my point. There's going to be a lot better videos coming very soon in the next coming weeks. Have a nice day. I'm this discussion out.